Coming up next on YCU News, a Monday meeting confirms the need for time and money as Vermont Yankees closure begins. New Hampshire lawmaker John Cloutier meets tonight with leaders in Bellows Falls, Vermont to discuss the repair of Vilas Bridge. And falling gasoline prices may spur car buying, especially as fuel-efficient models continue to be built. For more news, weather, and sports, it's time for YCU, your local view.
Now, your daily digest of the Dartmouth Lake Sunapee region and central Vermont. News, sports, weather, public affairs, and all that's happening in our area. The news on YCU, your local view.
Good evening. I'm Rose Spillman. Thank you for joining us for this Tuesday edition of YCU News. Time and money are what's needed to help southeastern Vermont as closure of nuclear power plant Vermont Yankee begins. An afternoon of Monday meetings between state lawmakers and local citizens confirmed that need. The 40-year-old plant is located in Vernon, not far from its downtown and elementary school. At least 50 residents and several media companies heard details from Vermont legislators about closing the plant. Several economic development advocates say $2.3 million will be needed to help Vernon, Brattleboro, and Windham County to recover financially when the plant closes in late 2014. While anti-nuclear foes may be glad to see the plant close, its closure also means a loss of 600 jobs and money in tax revenue to Windham County. New Hampshire lawmaker and Claremont resident John Cloutier is expected tonight to meet with Bellows Falls, Vermont leaders and residents. Repairing the Vilas Bridge is the topic of discussion. The Vilas Bridge joins Walpole, New Hampshire and Bellows Falls, Vermont on Route 12 south. Below the bridge, which needs repairs, is the Connecticut River. Cloutier serves on New Hampshire's Public Works and Highways Committee. Vermont residents are hopeful New Hampshire, through Cloutier, can speed up bridge repairs. Both states need to work together to fix the bridge. Now, it remains to be seen if this will happen. New Hampshire Congresswoman Ann Custer says veterans need to have claims to help them processed quicker. Nationwide, about 410,000 veterans will rely on the VA for medical services due them for their military service. The U.S. House of Representatives passed legislation introduced by Custer to hasten claims processing. Passage of her bill was a bipartisan effort, said Custer in a statement. Well, prices at the pump continue to chip away. On average in Sullivan County and elsewhere in New Hampshire and Vermont, it costs $3.42 a gallon for gasoline. Falling gasoline prices may spur car buying, especially as fuel-efficient models continue to be built.
With the predicted lowering of fuel prices, YCN News decided to come out to Lambert Auto to speak with John Lambert on the potential changes in consumer buying patterns. John, do you think lower fuel costs will encourage buyers to purchase larger cars?
Inevitably, there are people that wish they had one, have a need for it. Business professionals that may have a need for a passenger vehicle at the same time are buying our quad cab trucks. And those larger vehicles also are getting better fuel economy with diesel engines. We have a pickup truck that's claimed to get close to 30 miles per gallon. So there's still that opportunity for larger vehicles that people want. I don't think it's going to be as high a demand as it's been in the past when we had fuel problems. Rising prices always brought customers to buy a small car. Then a few months later they came in to buy a fuel-efficient one. I don't see that swing this time.
What trends have you seen in the past 3 months regarding local buying at your dealership as far as used versus new cars?
I think there are more new car buyers in the market right now. We have more of a selection of affordable new cars. One of the reasons is that interest rates have come down. Banks have reduced their lending criteria. They're reaching out to customers that might have been a little bit credit challenged in the past and extending credit at low rates. That coupled with the price of used cars, because we haven't been selling a lot of new cars in the recent 5 years. And so the supply of a good used car is limited. So the prices are high on used cars. You can get into a new car payment for less than maybe a 1 or 2 year old used car, because you can't go as long of a term on that used car. So I think new cars are more popular than used right now, and they'll stay that way for a while.
Do you think buyers will treat this as a long-term adjustment in pricing?
Here's my take on the fuel cost. I think the customers adjusted to the realization that it goes up and down, and I got to buy a vehicle that's going to fit my needs and fuel prices for the next 4 or 5 years. My take on fuel prices is that we need an energy policy that encourages fuel efficiency in a vehicle, not a mandated mile per gallon requirement, but an actual policy that's going to encourage customers to buy that fuel efficient vehicle.
Now we have the YCU weather forecast for the Connecticut River Valley and Lake Sunapee region. It looks like we may have our first bits of snow tomorrow and a mixture of rain. We should have highs in the upper 40s and a low of 30 degrees. Thursday we have a high of 54 with lows in the 50s as well. Friday we have a high in the 60s with low of 40 degrees. Saturday we'll have a high of 57 and lows in the 30s. Then Sunday will cool back down to highs in the 40s with a low of 25. If you're looking for more Halloween fun, check out the Halloween Festival in Lebanon from 4 to 6 p.m. on Thursday in City Hall and Colburn Park. There will be wagon rides, pumpkin bowling, and trunk-or-treating. This past Saturday, YCU sports traveled to Newport High School in New Hampshire, where Claremont's Stevens Cardinals came to town to take on their Route 11 rivals on Senior Day, fighting for the top spot in their division. Newport was averaging well over 30 points a game, but workhorse Don Polarin of Stevens drives for some of his game total 163 yards on 36 carries, and here takes the ball into the end zone for a touchdown, making it 9-0 Stevens. This low-scoring game was punctuated by this halftime ending play that left everyone wondering what kind of game would emerge after the break. In the third quarter, Newport gets on the board early with this 1-yard run by C.J. Lawrence, who would have 73 total yards, make the score 9-6. Late in the game, with Newport looking for the go-ahead touchdown, Lawrence gets called for a rare hurdling penalty on this play. With just over a minute to go in the game, number 17, Austin Tenney, intercepts his Newport pass to hold off a furious Newport comeback attempt. Stevens upsets the top-seeded in the Western Conference Newport Tigers 9-6. Stevens, with a victory next Friday versus Raymond, would win the conference. Newport needs a win next Saturday versus Mascoma to take the playoffs. The Newport versus Mascoma game will be the YCU game of the week. I'm Rose Spillman for YCU, your local view. Good night.